Hello and welcome to our third episode of Sequel Decay, where we struggle to get through the day, one franchise at a time. I'm Chris Ranta, and with me is Brandon.
Hello.
And Stefan.
Hello.
This week we're talking about the Avengers. Again.
Kill me.
Well, we talked about the first two last week, and I should mention something. Chris Penwell, who was on the show for the last about 5 minutes last time, and we said would be joining us today, is unfortunately not here. We're very sad that he isn't, because we would love you guys to hear him and his opinions on things, but we'll have to get him next time.
We're sending condolences to Chris Penwell's family.
Dear Mr./Mrs. Penwell,
Yeah.
Sorry we killed your son.
Yeah.
We're fucking recording! Jesus
know.
Christ! The police will use this against
This
us!
is staying in.
It's all canon. It's all...
Sequel Decay canon is confirmed. We have officially killed off Chris Penwell in the third episode.
He'll be on Active Quest on Wednesday!
Oh, God.
Because Infinity War came out last year and Endgame only came out as of this being released, I want to say a week prior.
Yeah.
We are going to be going into heavy spoilers, so to be courteous to those who haven't seen the movie yet, we're going to start with our thumbs up, thumbs down ratings and a quick little thing about what we thought of the movie, and then we're just going to go straight into spoilers for both. So if you'd like to avoid spoilers, just go into the description and there will be timestamps if you want to avoid those. So... Stefan, what did you think of Avengers Infinity War?
Infinity War is awesome, and I really love it. It's kind of unique in the sense that, especially among like these big blockbuster cape shit movies, it's like unapologetically bleak, especially by the ending. And yeah, it ends on a cliffhanger, but it doesn't feel unearned. Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it in the spoiler section, but I really love this movie.
Brandon?
Before the Endgame came out, Infinity War was one of my favorite one. Just because it has one of the best villains I've seen on TV in a long time. In movies in a long time. And just really good character development. They managed to fit 40 plus characters into 2.5 hours of screen time.
Yeah.
Like
It's a wonder they did that.
It's incredible that they did that. Yeah.
And I respect it more than I actually like it.
That's fair.
Like, I respect the hell that they had the ambition to try to fit 40 characters into one film. I don't think it completely works. I have a few issues with it that are going to sound more like nitpicks, but I think Endgame improved on a lot of those issues I had with Infinity War. So, thumbs up or thumbs down for Infinity War?
Thumbs up. Hard thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Like I said, moderate thumbs up for me. So, let's talk about spoilers for Avengers Infinity War.
I'm gonna do my
Spider-Man dies!
Everyone dies!
Look, y'all always step on my intro and
I'm sorry, that was mean.
What is there to introduce? Everyone knows what this fucking movie is. It's a movie...
We did a spoiler-free thing. We clearly know that not everybody has seen this movie.
I think everyone knows what it is.
Okay,
I'm
but...
sure we said spoilers and then he screams Spider-Man dies.
Why are you trying to erase me from this podcast?
We don't like you.
Start your thing.
Yeah, fuck you both. Avengers Infinity War was released in 2018 and is the third Avengers movie, and the first one directed by the Russo brothers. In Avengers Infinity War, a giant purple people eater named Thanos invades Earth and with the goal of kill everyone. The Avengers, teamed up with the Guardians of the Galaxy and all other ancillary Marvel characters, must stop him. This movie stars way too much people to name, but introduces Josh Brolin as Thanos and stars basically anybody who Disney was able to pay the hush money to.
They've had like 40 plus characters.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I want to go over like the different groups. We have the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
The original Avengers. We have the Ant-Man squad.
No, we don't have Ant-Man.
It's
not
just
in Infinity
Ant-Man.
War.
Oh, that's right.
No, not even Ant-Man, no.
Yeah, no, he's not even in it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple of squads, aren't there? Like not. What I mean by squads is like characters from like
Black Panther.
groups from movies. Black
yeah.
Panther is
Black Panther and
the Wakanda
everyone,
contingent.
Yeah, everyone
Thor's
from Wakanda.
group. Yeah.
Thor. Well, he's with the Guardians.
Yeah. I want to talk about like
because like the rest of Asgard doesn't show up until Endgame.
there's the Shield people, like Captain America and Black Widow. And
Nick Fury and Maria Hill show up in the post-credit scene.
Yeah. I think one of the more notable things about this movie is like tone, and we can talk about how the tone maybe doesn't live up to all our expectations a little later, but it kind of introduces a very prevalent theme of futility within the first scene, where Thanos murders most of the Asgardians and also kills Heimdall and Loki. Like, the movie obviously has levity, and the jokes work here and there, but it kind of spirals into being pretty unapologetically bleak.
Yeah, and those are the best parts of the movie, is when it does just kind of get unapologetically bleak and doesn't really let off from there.
Well, that's the scene he's talking about at the beginning, where it's Loki dies. That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie.
Oh no, the opening scene is amazing.
It's because like Loki finally decides to be the good person, the hero, and that's when he gets killed.
Like, I love how it's like this just super minor redemption arc.
Ever so slightly over the course of all the Thor movies.
No, like, it's a 2-minute redemption arc in this movie, and then he's just slaughtered.
Yeah, and I remember all the controversy behind it too. Everyone afterward was just like, "Oh, he's not actually dead. He's gonna come back." And then the Russo brothers had to tweet something saying, "No, he's fucking dead. He's not coming back.
Yeah,
get over it."
Which is
fine.
Fine, that's good. I don't need to see any more Loki.
Yeah, I think Loki's kind of run his course at this point because he's been in too many of these movies. But I think tonally is where it gets the most frustrating for me. The best parts of the movie for me are when it is super bleak and when it does stay consistent with that tone, because the entire movie, there's like this impending feeling of just doom and dread that's coming, and we know it's coming. And it seems like the characters all kind of do as well. But I really didn't like when the movie got super quippy. Like, that first fight scene with, I don't even know the character's name. I'm literally just going to refer to him as Squidward.
So yeah, it's because what Tony Stark calls him.
What's his name?
Ma.
Okay, so that first fight scene when Ma comes down, I can understand Tony being a little quippy in the beginning, because it's clear throughout these movies that he uses sarcasm and dry humor as a coping mechanism, and it's also clear that he's immature. In that introductory scene for the Guardians, it also kind of makes sense, because they don't know what's going on. Also, Peter's a man-child.
Well, I was thinking about this the other day, actually. Everyone's like, Peter's a fucking dumbass. He's all this stuff. I'm like, but one thing people forget is that he was taken from Earth by, first of all, a thief. Probably wasn't very smart himself. When he was, 12? 13 in the movie?
If that, yeah.
Yeah. Of course he's going to be a dumbass. He has the education of up to, grade 7?
Yeah, no, but
like 8 maybe, and then that's it.
Yeah, but I'm not saying Peter's immature in a bad way.
Oh no,
I'm saying it more as like, I can understand why there's quips here, and I can understand why there's a couple quips there, but after that, they don't really work for me, because it just feels. You're talking either
about that scene on Titan.
Yeah, and I don't want the movie to be full-fledged serious. I get it. There's got to be moments of levity, but the moments of levity they do have just feel like they're thrown in the wrong places for the most part.
See, I kind of don't feel the same way. Maybe it's just because I'm completely misreading the movie, but I kind of feel there's kind of a funnel effect with the humor where, like, the beginning is very heavy on quips, like, after the first scene, I mean, but it really kind of tapers off the closer you get to the climax.
Oh, no, I agree with that it does start to taper off after a while, but I think it's towards the middle is where I started getting really frustrated. I just kind of wish they really did lean more into the pending doom thing. I don't know if that was a studio thing or if the Russos were just like, we'll make it kind of funny for a while.
I mean, it's already pretty dark.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's already pretty much accomplished that goal of being, holy fuck,
but
Thanos is coming.
Like, the people that do die for real, not even discounting the people who get dusted, the people who, like, die are not... They're all killed pretty cruelly.
Oh, yeah, no.
Think of all the casualties on the Battle of the Wakandan Fields.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And, like, it's like, the leader of that other tribe that isn't the king is, he's alive still. Oh, the girl who plays Michonne in The Walking Dead, she's still alive. King is still alive, cool, but every other one is just fucking gone. Like, half the field is just dead.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck.
I was thinking, like, even the more major characters, like, Loki gets his neck broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Heimdall gets stabbed through the heart.
Heimdall gets stabbed through the heart. Gamora gets thrown off a cliff as a sacrifice. And Vision gets his forehead ripped out.
Yeah.
After first being blown up, reanimated, and then killed again.
That I think that
like,
that's
he had the worst death.
He gets impaled.
Yeah, he gets impaled in Scotland.
Yeah.
And then they fix him up, and then he gets beaten some more. Yeah. He's like my favorite crash test dummy in this movie.
I mean, he kind of looks like one.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's what I see when I look at Vision. It's like, hey, look, it's one of those Michelin tire.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what if Vision was the Michelin Man?
It's a big tough ball. I'm gonna throw it. What's your superpower? I'll throw a tire at you. You'll stop real quick.
So, yeah, I have some issues with the tone. I think Endgame handled it a little bit better. And I think just seeing how they handled it in Endgame, it just made me a little more disappointed in Infinity War. But I also don't think Infinity War is a bad movie because of it. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I wish they did this a little better, and I wish this was a little stronger.
You know, it's one thing, too, I noticed as well is that when we were doing the review on the first two movies, we focused on James Barton. Or Barton.
Clint
Barton. Thank you. Sorry, James Barton. What the fuck am I talking about? Clint Barton, and he was like how he's like a really main character, and he's the moral compass of the team. He's all that kind of stuff. And then this is actually the first Avengers movie where he's not even in it.
Yeah, he's not even in the movie,
which is a huge change because like everyone's like, oh yeah, he's like the one like normal person on the team who's just using a bow and arrow and his military skills, right? He's the most relatable out of anybody.
He's the most grounded.
And when you don't have that, it changes the tone a little bit.
Yeah, I think that kind of makes sense though, because like this movie is, as weird as it is to say, on a way grander scale than the first two movies.
Ooh, huge.
Like,
oh yeah, no, like visually, this movie is stunning.
It's so good.
It's so much better than the Whedon movies.
The first two movies takes place solely on Earth.
Well, it starts in space.
It starts in space, yeah.
And then we come back down to New York City for a little bit, and then we're pretty much thrown back up in space.
And then there's Wakanda.
Yeah. Oh, and then we go to Scotland, and
yeah, bounces all over the place.
It's all over the place, and I think this is why I'm not as pissed off about the tone, is because they handled giving the characters enough screen time so well.
Oh yeah,
they did such a good job with that.
Yeah, I don't think the characters got as much screen time in terms of these like small interactions that we saw in the first two movies. I don't think we saw as much of those necessarily.
No, but we didn't need them.
We didn't need them because we know most of the characters. We did get some like Thor meeting the Guardians, or whatever, or that brilliant Captain America meeting Groot scene.
I am Steve Rogers. Slightly high-pitched voice. Like, that doesn't really suit your build there, bud.
Yeah, it's mostly interactions between characters we already knew, or characters that we don't know, but I'll get a sense of their dynamic. Like Thor and Quill were never going to get along. Tony and Doctor Strange were also absolutely never going to get along because they're both egotistical.
Yeah, but I think they're both very different egotistical.
Yes.
Yeah,
you can kind of tell that Doctor Strange just looks at Tony with
complete disdain.
Yeah, complete disdain. Like, I was like you once, and then I realized I'm an asshole.
It's just pity, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of this like strange pity of like, look at you, you pathetic douchebag. Also, I want to come back to what you were saying about the way Cap introduces himself to Groot. I actually think it fit his character. Yeah, he might sound a little more high-pitched, but it definitely gives off that Boy Scout vibe.
Well, it would give us, instead of saying, I'm Captain America, no, it's like, I don't know, I'm Steve Rogers, I'm still a person. I'm still that scrappy kid from Brooklyn that you saw in the first Captain America movie.
Yeah, and he always kind of will be. So, like, it didn't take me out as much as I guess it took you out.
I think my favorite of the little subgroups that formed, and I'm glad they formed subgroups because I think everybody hanging out and going everywhere together would have been just way too much.
Would have been a mess.
A disaster.
They did the right thing.
I think my favorite of these subgroups was Thor, Rocket, and Groot.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's any contest.
And then he just calls Rocket Rabbit the entire time. And Rocket's just completely fine with it. He's like, yeah, alright, fine. I'm not going to argue with the God Man.
I think he's more confused than anything.
Yeah. But every time, like, someone else would call him not a raccoon, he would literally just pull out his gun and go, I'll fucking kill ya!
Yeah.
But in this, he's just like, okay, whatever you fucking say, asshole.
He survived being in space after the wreckage they saw. Of course, I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy.
I agree with the Pirate Angel.
I actually, Captain, you're very persuasive.
I also very much enjoyed Drax. Very much not low-key being attracted to Thor.
Aren't we all
low-key? No, you are a dude. Thor? This is a man. Hashtag Thax.
I ship it!
Thax or Door?
Oh, I like both.
Door!
I like hashtag Door!
Make hashtag Door.
Drawer.
Yo, make that, let's make hashtag Door.
No, hashtag drawer. I like
drawer.
Drawer.
Hashtag drawer.
I like Thax better. That sounds weird.
Thax sounds like a fucking, what do you call them? Those, like, fucking bug repellent things, like Raid?
I just realized Thax could also be Thanos and Drax.
Oh my god, yeah!
Do you guys remember when, like, I think the Marvel Netflix shows were just getting announced, and I think Infinity War was announced at about the same time.
I think so, yeah.
More or less, anyway. And they were all like, oh, because the Netflix shows are in the same universe, you're going to see Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage in the same movie. And I'm just so glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
It would have added literally nothing to the plot.
Never mind the fact that the Netflix shows didn't actually tie into the movies, like, at all.
At all.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of them.
I like a lot of them, but, like...
Oh, yeah.
I want to watch Daredevil, and I want to watch Jessica Jones, and I'm really worried about watching The Punisher.
I've heard Iron Fist is also trash.
I heard Iron Fist was horrible.
I heard it's really bad.
The first season and a half of Daredevil is really good. I can't speak for the third season, but I've heard it's good. For the Punisher starts slow but gets really good. Luke Cage has a good first half of the first season. Jessica Jones has a really good first season and kind of a mediocre second one. And I never saw Iron Fist.
Yeah, but you're probably right. It's probably good they weren't added into the movie because, like, what purpose would they have even served? Like, most of the movie takes place in space or in Wakanda.
Well, exactly,
not in New York.
And from what I gathered of the Netflix shows, it seems like they're in a more grounded universe. Than these movies are. Well, so even the fucking mess.
The point of these movies is that they're street level heroes.
Well, even the shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is even that was slightly disconnected from the movies.
They didn't shoe in anything that didn't need to be there. They didn't shoe in Daredevil. They didn't shoe in Runaways or Cloak and Dagger or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or even like Hawkeye and Ant-Man, who really probably wouldn't have had any part in the movie.
What about the Inhumans, though? I heard that show was terrific.
Oh, boy.
Remember when they released the first 2 episodes in fucking IMAX? You're just like, you watch the trailer,
I didn't watch them.
No!
I watched the entire series because it was canceled.
I know it was canceled.
So
that tells you how good the show was.
Yeah, it was one season, and the only reason I watched it was because it had one of my favorite actors in it, Ewan Ryan, who plays Ramsay in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's like one of the reasons I watched it, because I wanted to see him and what his character was like. And he is the villain of the show, but he's the most interesting character. Which, because everyone else is the most flat, non-round characters I've ever seen in my entire life.
Not round.
Non-round. Triangular.
Yeah, they did my boy Black Bolt dirty.
I like the idea, but like it's awful.
The Inhumans, I don't know much about the Inhumans comics, but like whenever they show up in stuff like Avengers or Fantastic Four, I always thought they were really cool. Especially Lockjaw.
Lockjaw is cool. Well, before the TV show came out for one season, it was originally supposed to be a movie. Right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
Like, there's really okay, it's gonna be a movie, and I'm like, okay, so they're gonna eventually be part of the MCU movieverse. But then it's just, I'm really glad it didn't happen, because dear God, that was bad.
I have a strange feeling that if they got a decent set of writers and a good director together, they probably would have made a decent Inhumans movie. I think honestly they probably just threw it on TV because they just didn't fucking care.
They could have fit the entire plot of the first season into an hour and a half.
Oh, I wouldn't be shocked.
You can watch the first episode and then the last episode, and you're good.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm saying, like, they probably, if they had a team that genuinely gave a shit, they probably would have made a really good Inhumans movie. But the problem is they didn't.
Yeah,
and it fucking shows because the show's canceled.
They would have helped, I guess, more than the Defenders in Infinity War, more, because they actually have some abilities.
Yeah, I mean, the Inhumans have more powers, and they're also, like, a bit more kind of cosmic and weird, which...
So one thing, actually, I really thought...
Well, anyway, we've talked about Inhumans for way too long.
Anyway, so back to Avengers Infinity War.
I kept trying to tie it back in. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how to do this. Talk about Inhumans more.
Guys, Infinity... Inhumans.
About the most important and most impressive parts of the Infinity War movie, and that is the villain, Thanos.
Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars.
He's been he was teased in the first 2 Avengers movies.
In the credit scenes, right?
Yeah, and I think I can say that he got exponentially less interesting in these cameos as they went along, because at that point it's like, yeah, we fucking get it. Like, he appears in Avengers and it's intriguing, because who is this guy? Who is this guy who hired Loki? Then we see him in Guardians, and he has this like long scene where he's essentially just telling Ronan how useless he is, which, I mean, we could have pieced that together by ourselves.
Let's not get into Ronan's fucking...
Not again.
Shit.
Not again.
And then he appears in Age of Ultron. He's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And then he takes like 80 years to get here. And now he's here, and he was so much better than I expected him to be.
Oh, yeah.
So much. He's one of the best, like I said, one of the best villains I've seen.
I think it's tough to talk about him like isolated just to Infinity War, because I think his arc actually resolves like perfectly in Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
He's worth mentioning in Infinity War because of like this kind of the subculture that emerged after.
Well, not only that, but also this, like, Infinity War is Thanos' movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's the main character.
He is essentially the main character of that movie. You're pretty much following him the entire time, while the rest of the Avengers are just scrambling to kind of deal with him.
One thing, one thing about the MCU movies that we've talked about in the past, that they really shine in character development.
Yeah.
And this, like you said, this is his origin story, basically. Yeah. Even though he's the villain, he makes you want to feel for him. Like that scene with Gamora. Yes, he's the bad guy. You're like, fuck him. But you get a more in-depth look of why he's acting the way he is, why he's such a fucking psychopath.
No, but
yeah,
okay, we need to talk about
we need to talk about Thanos was right.
Yeah, we need to talk about
this. Let's get that out of the fucking way.
Oh no! Fuck!
Okay, so
let's try to do it without Endgame spoilers.
Would you like to discuss or tell us what the issue is here, Stefan?
Okay, so I'll just do a bit of comic history real fucking quick. Get that out of the way. So Thanos in this movie is completely, like, thematically, his motive for doing this is pretty much different. At least on surface level, from his motive in the comics. Because in the comics,
he just wants to fuck death.
He wants to fuck death. He is in love with the concept of death. He literally wants to fuck the personification of death. Because of course, death is an actual person in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting. And part of me kind of wanted to see that. But anyway, in this movie, his motive is mitigating the effects of overpopulation by murdering half of all life in the universe.
Exactly half.
And as he says...
Unbiased, random...
but is it unbiased, though? Because when he's asked, what is he going to do after? He's like, I'm going to watch the sun rise on a grateful world. So he's not actually planning on including himself in the culling.
No.
So it is up to him. And that kind of ties into the crux of what's wrong with him. It's not actually a good answer for the problems of, quote unquote, of overpopulation. Mm-hmm. Because if you just kill half the people, the systems that created the overpopulation are still in place. Mm-hmm. And that's just, you might stall the problem, but it's only going to happen again.
It's going to come back. And like, there's so many other ways to fix that problem besides killing half the population. You could, for instance, double all the resources that everyone has.
Yeah.
Increase the efficiency or how the system works.
Find a new system.
Figure out a way to make it so that, like,
everybody gets what they need.
In regards to humans, we only need half of what we used to need.
Yeah,
or that change our digestive system.
Or that some people don't have 100 times what they need, and some people have none of what they need.
Exactly. There's so many other ways, and it's just...
So what we're getting at is that Thanos is kind of deluded, and he's
a psychopath.
He might have convinced himself that what he's doing is the humanitarian thing to do.
Really shows in Endgame.
Yeah, no, he's an absolute fucking psychopath. He's got it in his head that this is what he needs to do, and he's convinced all these other people. And I do like that kind of like pseudo-religious aspect of the movie, how everyone else is like the children of Thanos, and you know, they're all his followers, and they all believe all the shit that he's pouring in their mouths.
Very cultish.
It's very cultish, and very Scientology-esque, and I loved it.
Yeah. And
drink that Kool-Aid, Squidward.
And what it comes down to is, like, he's a eugenicist. He wants to selectively breed out people who he deems undesirable, which will never include himself. Which is why, in the meta-narrative of the movie, when people start saying, well, Thanos was right, because overpopulation is a problem, if you know anything about what we just talked about, that should send up massive red flags. Mm-hmm. Because these are people who either don't know anything about it, or they just want a culling of the so-called undesirables. I mean, in the end, this is just a sci-fi movie, but this is not a good mindset to have, like, even in moderation. I think history bears me out on that. So anyway, that's why Thanos was right is bullshit.
Complete garbage.
We did it, guys!
Yeah. Like, just because a villain shows humanity does not mean you have to even agree with him in part, because he is so completely wrong, and they eventually touch on that in Endgame.
Yeah, like, if there's any MCU villain that's right, I guess we can argue Killmonger, but even then, it's more like, Killmonger has a point. Not Killmonger was right.
Yeah.
That's still why he was one of the better villains of the MCU.
That's still why he's one of the stronger villains. But Thanos is also a really strong villain. It's just that his thinking into that issue is incredibly fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and kind of another thing that I wanted to touch on real quick, and this is kind of I'm struggling on how to interpret this scene was when he sacrifices Gamora.
Yeah, it's a very controversial scene.
Yeah.
It's one of those where, like, on one hand,
especially considering what we know after.
That's the thing. I don't know if it worked on me.
To get the Soul Stone, Thanos has to go to Vormir, where the Red Skull, who is like the guardian of the stone or whatever, tells him that he needs to sacrifice something that he loves. And so he brings Gamora with him, and he tosses Gamora off a cliff. And it was a really stirring moment, like in cinematographic. What the fuck? Cinematography-wise.
Cinematography-wise, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's an emotional moment for sure, but I have a problem with how it's framed, I guess. It's framed as, despite Thanos' faults, he really did love his children. But the thing is, Thanos is very clearly an abuser.
Well, it's not even that. It's that he loves Gamora specifically.
Yeah, but even any, like, person who has researched child abuse will tell you that an abusive parent or parental figure doesn't actually love anybody they're abusing. And it's really weird to frame it that way. Mm-hmm. Because let's say that an abusive parent takes their child to see Infinity War, and they see that scene. Well, then that could be interpreted as being the justification for their abuse. Like, even though I'm rough with you, I still love you. And in that way, it could be seen as a sort of justification for abuse.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah, like
it's one of the problems.
I don't know if that's how the Russos intended it to.
I highly doubt it.
I don't really care.
No,
in the end, what matters is what
they did.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I don't think they did, but I think. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't really matter. What matters is how people end up perceiving it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those moments where I sat there with it like, okay.
When I was watching this scene, I remember being... Because like, if you think like the music in the background, the score, how it's shot, it's a very emotional scene.
Yeah.
A very deep and supposed to be sad scene. And I remember very specifically when I was watching it, that I couldn't really connect to that because one, I knew there was going to be a follow-up movie, Endgame. So I didn't know if she was going to come back alive or not.
Yeah.
And I feel like that takes away kind of from the scene. Because if you go in thinking, oh no, she's just going to come back in Endgame.
We can say that about the end of the movie.
We don't know this or anything to do with any of this, right? And like when we're watching, like I was watching the movie, I was like, is she going to come back? Is she not? I don't know. Yeah. But that's what I'm getting at, is it takes away from that sincere, father's killing his daughter moment.
Yeah, but I think so does the aspect of child abuse.
Well, yes, but like I'm just saying that
the villain isn't
I feel like I'm not the only one who saw that scene and didn't like, because that scene is clearly supposed to make you feel, and like maybe if you're really like hardcore, tear up a little bit.
Yeah,
that's still one of my favorite musical themes in like any movie when she gets thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
it's really nice.
Like I feel like I'm not the only one who saw that scene and just went, okay.
I was
really surprised in the theater. I remember.
I was surprised, but I thought they might, because this is Marvel and there's no stakes in these movies whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then there was.
And then there was.
So one quick thing I want to talk about with Peter Quill is the controversy behind his punching Thanos in the face.
Yeah, because people are nitpicky assholes, and God forbid they actually accept the humanity of characters.
He's human.
Yeah. He's very human.
He's very, very human.
It's almost like that's a major threat of his character.
It's almost like it's a major threat of these movies, is like there's still a shred of humanity to these people despite their superhuman abilities.
Yeah,
who fucking knew?
It's almost like all of these characters are massive fuck-ups in one way or another.
Exactly. He loves Gamora, as is said earlier in the film.
Yeah.
And so when you think you've lost that love of your life,
especially when you're a man-child,
especially when you have the brain of a 15-year-old, it makes complete sense that he reacted how he did.
Yeah, like how would you feel if your girlfriend was killed by her father and you found out from her father, who's gloating about it, essentially?
Her abusive father,
who's essentially gloating about it.
I think that's kind of touches on like a major problem in general public film criticism, let's call it, or media criticism.
The dumbass general public.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but people who maybe think that they're being smarter than they are, I mean CinemaSins.
Hashtag call out, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, they suck.
Fuck CinemaSins.
They think that because a character didn't act as they would, because of course they are the arbiters of what is rational or not, that means the movie's the movie is flawed, without taking into account that if the characters are human, humans are imperfect. Humans do not act logically or rationally 100% of the time.
Oh yeah, no, but we're all Vulcan, obviously, right? We're completely all logical thinkers 100% of the time, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, I of course would have given that abusive dickhead father of my dead girlfriend a hearty handshake and wished him well in his trial.
High five! So proud of you. Finally, I don't have to put up with that bitch no more. That's exactly what Peter would have done.
Then I would have put on my fedora and gone back to watching Rick and Morty.
To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand why Peter Quill's decision was bad.
Yeah. Well, that
it was a bad decision, but that's the point.
Well, I do see why people get upset, even though it's a stupid thing to get upset about.
It's
because
he
doesn't. Because if he doesn't punch him in the face, they can get the gauntlet off, right? And that would have prevented him from doing the snap, which is the climax of the movie. Which is, he wipes out half of all living creatures across the universe, which is just a ridiculous,
incredibly depressing,
super depressing.
Especially the end is just just has an overwhelming sense of futility.
Well, I don't know if you noticed is that throughout the movie, there's always a sort of a background. There's there's music or there's a machine going or something.
Yeah,
or some kind of thing.
It's just pure silence.
It's complete silence, except for some dialogue.
Yeah, little bits of dialogue here and there, but it is mostly complete silence. It's as if the Russos are going, let this sink in.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best things I've seen in the MCU, because even though a lot of these characters are going to come back, obviously Spider-Man, because Far From Home comes out next month.
Get hyped for Black Panther 12.
No,
Captain Marvel 11.
Jesus.
The 11th one.
Yeah, that's the title. Avengers, here we go again.
Who are we kidding? We're going to watch them.
Yeah, so that snap happens, and everyone dies. It's complete silence, and then you get this gorgeous shot of Thanos in a place he calls the Garden, where he's, I think you said earlier, Stefan, watch the sunset on our grateful universe, is the line he uses.
Very much like a Nazi war criminal in
very
Argentina.
much. Yeah, but you get that gold scene, and he's just turning to sunset, and he smiles, and it cuts, and that's the end of the film. And then this leads us actually into Endgame.
We're in the Endgame now, boys.
Which is actually said in the second Avengers movie.
Yeah. The word Endgame is used in Avengers: Age of Ultron, which I'm pretty sure
it's funny because if you go back and watch all these, if you're a really hardcore MCU fan, you go and watch them in chronological order, you can find these little bits where it's there's a little foreshadowing, there's a little hint that this is going to happen.
Yeah, because a lot of them just blatantly set this up.
Just quickly while we're on that topic, the first Avengers movie especially is very accessible for people who maybe don't watch other MCU stuff. I would say Infinity War and Endgame are definitely not that.
No, you need to know what's going on.
Yeah, you're not going to know what's going on if you
at the very least watch Infinity War.
Yeah. I think Infinity War is the minimum going into Endgame that you need to watch. And I don't know, I guess you could say that's a fault of the movies, but I think it's just more of a industry thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about Endgame.
Yeah.
Before we go into Avengers Endgame, Stefan, Brandon, Chris Aranta, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Thumbs
fucking up.
Way up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs so hard up.
I think we all, 3 out of 3, we all recommend this movie?
Yes.
100%.
Definitely.
I was telling you this earlier, I honestly think this is going to be the best movie of the year.
The only way I wouldn't recommend
besides maybe Star Wars.
I don't know about best. I'm not ready to make that call yet.
No, it's fucking April.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I said Infinity War was going to be one of my favorites, and I don't think it might not end up in my top 20. I'm still watching a lot of movies from last year. Although I think this is better than Infinity War. The only way I wouldn't recommend this is if you don't like superhero stuff in the first place.
Or if you haven't seen any of the previous movies.
Yeah, or that. Yeah. In which case, just avoid these movies in general. You're not going to get anything out of them. But otherwise, yeah, this is surprisingly... it surpassed my expectations.
Well, the thing I find that was the best parts of this movie is that the payoffs of everything that have been leading up these last 10 years are fantastic.
Yeah.
On point every time.
I can't think of an arc that wasn't resolved.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. I guess let's start from the beginning of the movie. Let's start, opening scene.
So let me do my thing!
Let's just quickly, spoilers from here on out.
Yes.
Avengers Endgame, also directed by the Russo brothers, was released in 2019, and it is a direct sequel to Avengers Infinity War. After Thanos has Thanos'd the world, the original Avengers, along with a few tag-alongs, are now in a rebuilding phase and have come to accept that the people they lost will never come back until a glimmer of hope appears in the form of Paul Rudd, who then happens to crawl into Thanos' ass. And okay, we're gonna cut that.
No, let's keep that.
That was like one of the biggest fan theories too. It was so funny.
Yeah, no, it was.
Ant-Man's gonna climb inside his butthole and expand into Mega Ant-Man, and he's gonna turn into a million pieces.
People actually think that people didn't think that was actually gonna happen, right?
No, I don't think anyone actually thought it was going to happen. It was weird hearing Paul Rudd talk about it on Graham Norton.
This movie stars everybody who has ever been in a movie. And and going into spoilers now, Thanos dies within the first 15... Well, maybe not 15. Within the first half an hour.
Let's explain this quick. So, the events of Endgame start immediately after the events of Infinity War.
Pretty much,
Within maybe a day.
Yeah, a couple days.
Like a week,
And so they're trying to find out where Thanos is so they can try and fix this because they're all shaken and stuff like that. And they find that when Thanos snapped his fingers and used the Power Stones, he created an energy pulse on the Earth that spread across the universe. And they found that the same kind of signature happened 2 days ago in their time on a different planet. And so they go to that planet, and that's the Garden planet that Thanos is at, and they end up finding him and they kill him.
Well, no, what happens before that is they go, where are the fucking stones?
Yeah.
And Thanos goes, destroyed them. And then
them.
Thor goes, okay, cuts his head off. And then he makes...
He went for the head?
Yeah, he went for the head this time because, when he stabs Thanos at the end of Infinity War, Thanos says, should have gone for the head.
Mm-hmm. He did.
So to have Thor just chop his fucking head off and him go, head this time.
And that's a really emotional scene in the movie because that's, I guess, you get these kind of shots of all the characters that are in that room, and they're kind of just, you see the realization, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
We have lost. Everyone is gone. We're done.
Continuing the theme of everything being futile.
And it's just fantastic. It's a little bit of action right at the beginning of cutting off at the head, but then there's nothing
and then
for an hour.
Yeah, then the next hour from there is just...
It's a post-apocalyptic slice-of-life anime.
Yeah, it's just a heavy drama. And I looked over at you, I want to say about an hour into the movie, I went, if they keep this up, this might be my favorite movie of the year.
Well, it's good too because after that scene where Thanos dies, it cuts to this cut where it says 5 years later.
Yeah.
And so this all is actually happening in 2024.
Something like that.
That's the canon I am gleaming from this.
Mm-hmm.
About 2023,
every character has grown, I would say, into the role that everyone thinks they would. Black Widow was now the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or whatever the equivalent is.
Yeah, the security place. And Bruce Banner is the Hulk, but he's still Banner as the Hulk, and he's
that mix of both.
He's the best of both parts.
He's the best of both parts, I think he says in the movie. And then, he's just getting, fan pics.
Captain
which is lovely.
Captain America is a freaking guidance counselor.
Yeah, Captain America's a guidance counselor.
You get this beautiful AA meeting shot.
Yeah, he's helping people deal with their trauma and their grief.
Hawkeye lost his family in the snap and is now Ronin and is murdering criminals.
Oh yeah, I forgot that it doesn't start with everyone looking at it. It starts with Hawkeye teaching his daughter how to shoot a bow, and his the other two sons are in the background playing catch, and his wife's making lunch or whatever. And then they all just disappear.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the new team, and then 5 years later, whatever it was, and you see him, and he's just wrecking this Chinese mafia or whatever the hell.
Yeah, Yakuza.
Whatever the hell it is, just fucking them up.
I think my favorite part about that opening scene with Hawkeye is you get a lot of these initial establishing shots that he's under house arrest because you can see the bracelet or the thing on his ankle.
Because he took the same deal as Scott Lang.
Yeah.
With the house arrest thing. Scott just, I guess, got an earlier sentence or something.
Yeah, he probably got out earlier.
For us to really understand it, we'd have to rewatch Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I don't think any of us particularly want to do that.
Thor's an alcoholic.
Thor is a sweaty, panting leather daddy. And everyone loves it. He's the Big Lebowski. Huge beard, all the long hair, his gut is the size of a small basketball.
All he had to do was just say that the rug tied the whole room together. That's all he had to do.
Oh. Fucking hanging out in kind of an apartment, drinking beer and just blazing it up with Korg and Meek, the only good Marvel characters.
Korg and Meek, and he's having an Xbox Live fight with some 12-year-old with his mom. That is the most incredible and relatable thing I've ever seen.
My favorite part of the Endgame was when Thor had a heated gamer moment.
That's funny. You find him too. He's supposed to be in the new Asgard, the new Asgardian villages,
which is essentially New England.
Yeah, it's basically, and then Valkyrie's there and stuff like that, and she doesn't end up fighting until later. But it's supposed to be the new Asgard, right? And so he's ruling everybody, and he's ruling as this.
Once a month he comes out, and that's it.
Yeah, for a beer run.
Yeah, beer run, as Valkyrie basically puts it, without saying the words beer run.
Well, and the reason he's like that is because he's not like that at the beginning of the movie. He's very anger-driven and wants to get revenge, and he feels like everyone down, And then when you get that shot of him, and he's all fucked up.
He's a fucking schlub.
Yeah, he's a 40-year-old who lives in his mom's basement still.
Because revenge didn't actually benefit him.
No, not
because it never does.
It made it worse.
No, it just solidifies that empty hole in your heart, right?
Because when people start talking to him about it, he starts either crying or getting really angry.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the trauma he's experienced in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Over the course of Ragnarok and Infinity War.
Not even just Ragnarok either.
Dark World as well. Dark World.
Because in Thor the Dark World, his mother dies, which is the only thing you really need to know.
Just in case you forgot about Thor the Dark World,
everyone else. It was surprisingly more important in this film than we realized. His mother dying is a huge plot point for Thor.
It's not like you need to watch Thor the Dark World anyway.
The biggest accomplishment of this movie is somehow making Thor the Dark World relevant.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing that are relevant of Thor the Dark World is the Reality Stone, possibly Jane Foster.
Jane Foster's a proxy for the Reality Stone, and then Thor's mother dying.
But it's just and all the characters are kind of like that, in that state of just fuck, just this is the end times. If you'll give that one to me, it's post-apocalyptic kind of thing, right?
It's a post-apocalyptic dystopia movie.
Well, exactly. You get that shot right before the AA scene with Cap, where it's the shot of the cities, and there's city field is completely barren and empty. There's cars all over the streets, everywhere, gone.
It reminded me a lot of Evangelion, because in Evangelion, the setup is that half the people in the world are dead. So there's a lot of shots of very empty streets. Classrooms are always a quarter full. And I kind of got that same vibe from this.
Yeah, and it really gives you a sense of just how these people are feeling and what they're going through, and the hardships they're going through. And it really actually leads into Captain Marvel's arc really well, because everyone, after when they first saw Captain Marvel, everyone's like, oh, she's the most powerful MCU character, as according to the Russo brothers now. Everyone thought, oh, okay, so we got Captain Marvel, which it was a movie.
It had a cat.
Goose.
It had Cthulhu.
It had a cat, and therefore was better than Endgame.
No, but everyone thought that's okay, well, she's gonna have a huge part in the MCU, and everyone's worry was that it was gonna be too much, that she was gonna be too much a part,
but she's barely in the movie.
And exactly, and the way that she just justifies that is by saying this is happening all over the universe. There are thousands of planets. Yeah, that have what's happening on Earth happen to them, and they don't have the Avengers to help them with it. And I'm like, that is the best fucking reason I've ever heard for that, because it makes sense. I mean, you know where she's been for the entire movie. You know what she's trying to help with. She's still there, but she has to help the thousands of other planets that the Avengers can't. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like she fucked off for 2 hours and then came back.
It's not that it's a plot hole that she's so powerful, but yet she wasn't with them. It's because she's so powerful, she can't be with them.
Exactly. It's they don't have the Guardians to defend the galaxy right now, because they're all gone.
Yeah,
they're all dead except for Rocket, who calls Mantis the one with the antenna.
It made complete sense why she wasn't there for a lot of the movie, and I think they did a really good job at utilizing her the best they could.
Well, the way they brought her back after that, because you see her for the first 10 minutes, and then you don't see her again until almost the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What she does at the end of the movie is fantastic.
Fucking awesome.
Fucking just comes in like a bat out of hell, destroys the entire fleet.
She kind of has a one-liner with Spider-Man.
Right. Hey, I'm Peter Parker.
Brie Larson is very subtly charming as Captain Marvel.
She is.
She's growing on me, honestly.
Parts of the Captain Marvel the movie didn't do her any favors.
But and I think that's more to do with the writing and the directing.
I think so too, because Brie Larson is very different from the others in that she does have some similar aspects of other MCU characters, in that she's very snarky and very confident and quippy. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because of the first movie, we still are waiting on a bit of backstory from her that makes some sort of thematic sense.
The movie it provided a backstory, but not the best backstory.
Yeah,
I think Brie Larson's a terrific actress, and the script didn't do her much favor.
But like in here and in the first movie, in Captain Marvel, I should say, she's very quiet too. Like in her how she delivers lines, it's all very subtle, but it's all very sarcastic.
Yep.
Which I really appreciated, because it's not the same delivery as Tony, who's very smarmy.
Yeah, no, she was terrific.
Very blunt.
And very
blunt, yeah.
And very, subtle facial expressions. Like, she doesn't actually emote too much, except for very small reactions. Like, after Mjolnir, or whatever the fuck that was, flies by her head.
Oh, Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker, you're right. Flies by her head, and she doesn't react except to kind of narrow her eyes a little bit and smirk a little bit. Yeah, I think that was great.
That was awesome. Yeah.
There's Thor's all right, you're not afraid of me, I like her.
But, she should be smiling more, guys.
Oh, God.
Brie Larson, what?
Why won't you date me? The fucking internet, man.
Jesus Christ. I don't even...
Anyway.
Was there that much discourse around Wonder Woman 2, or is it just Captain Marvel?
Not really, because Wonder Woman, the difference was because Wonder Woman didn't, market itself so much as, a feminist movie, whereas Captain Marvel did lean into it more.
Yeah.
One could... I don't care about arguing which is the more feminist movie. I'm not.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care about that discussion. Captain Marvel leaned into it a bit more, which is why people attacked it while saying, "Oh, the good thing about Wonder Woman was it did try to shove feminism in our face." God forbid, right? Yeah. But I think that's what ended up drawing a lot of these shitlords to it.
I don't even think the film marketed itself as a feminist movie. I think they were just really pissed off about Brie Larson and her social views.
Because I think...
And ultimately, I don't give a fuck what she thinks.
Yeah.
I mostly agree with her.
She's one person.
She's one person.
Yes, she's a really popular person, but that doesn't mean you should get so bitchy because she has an opinion on it.
Exactly.
It's a very, I don't want to say necessarily American, but a very modern thing where, people get really mad if, one celebrity doesn't have the same view as you.
Yeah, and I think it's really stupid. None of us walked into Captain Marvel worked up over what Brie Larson said about A Wrinkle in Time.
Well, and then that movie was one of the ones that that's the only Marvel movie I've gone into with the preamble of oh, this might be a political movie, right?
And because it had some discourse around it.
And
some undertones, but it wasn't really.
Endgame had a couple as well. Not really. There's the one scene in the climax and the big fight scene where you get Doctor Strange opens one of those portal things and all the every single female character comes out. Pepper, Scarlet Witch, Wasp, everybody.
Yeah, very nice of Doctor Strange to set up that photo up, by the way.
Yeah, and then Pepper with her Iron Pepper, as I like to call
Rescue, I think, is the name in the comics of Pepper.
Is that her? Oh, okay.
It's whatever.
It's a lame fucking name.
That is a lame name. I like Iron Pepper better.
Yeah. Iron Pots.
Nice. Pepperman.
Can't wait for Salt Man to come out.
I can't be your Pepperman. I can't be your Pepperman. Y'all like those M&M deep cuts?
But that was the scene. If anything, that would have been the scene that would be controversial. It really shouldn't.
I'm sure these people are gonna get really upset about it.
It reminded me of the No Man's Land scene from Wonder Woman in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't think it has the same emotional payoff as the No Man's Land scene, but it doesn't have to. It's still a really solid scene on its own.
Well, that's I guess that kind of leads into the cinematography of this movie.
Jesus Christ, it's gorgeous.
It is fucking phenomenal.
Because Marvel movies, have a track record of being, kind of ugly.
not ugly,
bright, colorful.
Yeah, not
boring.
Yeah, not DCU, mud colored. Yeah. But,
Marvel's very bland.
Yeah,
it's very bright, but
Winter
very
Soldier and Civil War are very gray sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well...
Whereas it's only stuff like Guardians or Thor Ragnarok that are, very colorful and almost psychedelic.
Vibrant.
Yeah, the space, the cosmos ones where they can really play around with the physics.
Even with Captain Marvel, it looked very vibrant and great, too.
Yeah. For a 90s...
Especially in the climax.
For a movie that's set in the 90s, yeah, especially.
And then there's the Whedon Avengers movies where they're shot almost like a TV episode, which we mentioned in the last episode. So the climax was just chef's fucking kiss.
Favorite fucking shot in the entire movie is
all of them coming out of the portals.
Well, that is one of them, yes, but it's not my favorite. My favorite is when Thanos is on one end of the field and Cap is on the other.
Oh my god, that was
really cool.
They're about a football field's length apart, and then it's panned out, so it's like Cap is about the size of a Lego figure, and it's just this huge scene where on the far right it's complete darkness, and there's a ship like a armada just about to invade Earth, and on the left there's the slightest bit of light where Cap is, and it kind of that light versus dark, good versus evil kind of thing. It's so good because it's just like it really gets that sense of this is again impending doom. We're all about to die. He just blew up the Avengers base, like everyone's almost dead. And then you get that gorgeous scene, and then the fucking Doctor Strange thing happens.
Yeah, and then everyone comes
everyone comes out, and it's like, we have an army now.
I hate it when people clap in movies, or cheer, or really lose their shit.
Aww.
Unless I feel like the payoff is super well earned.
What about the payoff we got in this movie?
Super well earned.
I
was actually surprised, like, nobody in our theater was like, fuck yeah!
I did. I was like, yes!
No, I didn't hear anybody. It was just fucking radio silence.
So... they have to find the Infinity Stones throughout time in order to... that's their plan to fix...
they call it
to bring everybody back after they've killed Thanos the first time.
Yeah. Okay, so at this point, they've already come back.
Thor goes back to the events of the Dark World. He sees his mother who has died, and he also, while he's there, calls out Mjolnir, his hammer, which was destroyed by Hyla, but this is before that, so he still has it, and he holds it, he's still worthy, and he goes back and he brings it with him.
Yeah.
Right, so now he has Stormbreaker and Mjolnir. And as he's fighting Thanos in one of these scenes... he drops Mjolnir and eventually just keeps fighting Thanos. And then you get this one scene where it just pans off to Mjolnir, and Mjolnir's floating up the ground ever so slightly. Everyone's like, wait, what the fuck's going on? And it zooms across, and fucking Captain America catches it. And the theater collectively lost its shit.
I don't think our theater lost its shit.
Yes, you do not remember that?
It was
a pretty like loud theater after that, dude.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah! Yes! Finally! Oh, fuck, Steve! Captain America! And it's funny because when he catches it, Thor's like, I knew it! Because in Age of Ultron, when they had that competition or whatever, he moves it a little bit. And so now Captain America is now worthy of ruling Asgard.
Of course he is.
But
with America's ass.
He ends up with America's ass. I really like they usually keep the same kind of move sets too through the movies. Like in the first Avengers movie when Thor and Cap and Iron Man all meet in that field for the first time, and Thor hits the shield.
Yeah, and Black Widow always has the kind of spinny,
exactly, the spinny moves. Yeah, well, like even in this one, Cap has Mjolnir and the shield fighting Thanos. He throws the shield, throws the hammer, fucking smacks Thanos with a huge sound wave, and then brings them both back. Like it's just like
it was such a fuck yeah moment,
such a fucking payoff, and that's like one of the many that are in this movie.
And then everyone comes out of the Doctor Strange floodgates, and you're just like, "Yep, this is awesome. Yep. I love it."
It's so good.
Yeah, the last time I was that hyped in a theater was when I was watching Get Out.
Oh god, that's a good movie.
Oh, watch it with the crowd; it's incredible.
I think my favorite scene in the movie, it's a very short one, and this is mostly from an aesthetic purpose, but right after the scene in Vormir where it's just Hawkeye against the sky, and there's kind of the moon that's the mold
after he gets the stone or whatever.
I think because Vormir by itself is an incredible location, just visually speaking, and it was that in Infinity War. But something about especially after what happens in that scene. By the way, Black Widow is dead.
So Black Widow.
Why are we saying this as if people haven't seen the movie yet?
It's going to get spoiler warning. Black Widow sacrifices herself instead of Barton to get the Soul Stone, and she is dead.
Yeah,
she's dead.
She's done,
she
folks.
is done. She is toast because apparently, according to Red Skull, it's irreversible.
You hate to see it, folks.
However, and this is just my theory. It did say, fuck off. It did say it was 5 years later. Right, so she dies in 2024. So technically, they could have a spin-off Black Widow movie if they wanted to do that. I don't see it happening, but they could. They do have that opportunity.
The Black Widow movie should just be her lying dead for 2 hours.
I want to see. Jesus Christ!
While Simon and Garfunkel's "Sounds of Silence" plays in the background for 2 hours on loop.
As opposed to Infinity War and Ultron, which were very action-heavy. I mean, because the first half of this movie has, no action whatsoever.
None.
It has a lot of character moments, like every Avengers movie before it, but unlike the Whedon movies, which are very jokey and quippy, but still established character, and the Infinity War, which is mostly characters that we already knew, that were just kind of quipping and then moving along with the story. This one, has a lot of really, interesting character building stuff, mostly because of the time skip. And there are jokes. If you want jokes, you got jokes.
You want time travel jokes? You got time travel jokes.
You got time travel jokes.
I never thought I'd hear a hot tub time machine reference in a $200 million big budget movie for babies.
Right?
Rhodey is a man of culture.
Rhodey is a man of art. The way he almost chef kissed Hot Tub Time Machine was incredible.
Yeah, it's all very somber. Like, even when they quip, there's always a very underlying tension.
And, like, the thing with the Thor gag is that there's still that undercut of, like, it's kind of funny because he's pathetic. It's kind of funny because he's just a loser now.
Yeah, it's like one of those...
Because the trauma is kind of... It does a really good job at balancing tones in this movie, and I had that issue with Infinity War, as I said earlier. Mm-hmm. But in this one, they balance the tones so much better, and it's because they do give everyone a lot of time to just kind of reflect on what the fuck happened and what they're going to do.
Exactly, right? Like, the humor is more of a, hey, I'm just trying to lighten the mood, you know?
Yeah, it definitely is.
We're all depressed and shit, but here's a joke, laugh, haha.
It never feels inappropriate.
No.
Mm-hmm. I also think it was a good idea to focus on the core Avengers.
Yeah.
Yes. Plus, like, Rocket and Nebula and a bit of Captain Marvel. Like, we're gonna get way more Spider-Man, way more Black Panther, way more Captain Marvel. But it's the end for these guys.
Yeah.
And we want to see how it ends, and I think it does it mostly good. Like, Hawkeye's threat of being somebody who, like, he's just over it, and he wants out.
And I really like what they did with Nebula, too. Her whole connected network consciousness thing. That's how they tied the old Thanos to come to the future. Right?
Nebula as a character has really grown on me over the movies.
Yeah, well, you really see the change in her too, because you see past Nebula and current Nebula, and they're just completely different, like to a degree, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much that character's grown over 5 years.
Well, exactly. Like, she reconnected with her sister Gamora. She's gone against Thanos. She's now part of the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
like, huge difference. And then when you see her old self just wanting to please Thanos, you feel sad for that version. You're like, no, she's evil. What are you doing? Fuck. Yeah.
And then, of course, as we said earlier, Black Widow's dead. We're going to jump past that.
Black Widow is dead, and it's really sad, but it's... Like, it has quite a bit more impact than...
It has a lot more impact than Thanos throwing Gamora off the cliff, because, you know, with Black Widow and Hawkeye, they're fighting over who's going to jump first.
Yeah.
Over who sacrifices themselves.
Yeah, like who's going to kill themselves for the greater good first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Black Widow's main theme throughout these movies has been, I want to get the red out of my ledger. I want to do something that at least goes towards redeeming me, because she's been doing such awful things for her entire life.
Well, exactly. Like, well, if you were like a third party, Red Skull gave you the choice, choose one of these two to kill, would you change your choice? Because I don't think I would. One, Barton has a family, and like you said, she's been trying to clean the red from her ledger this entire time.
Yeah, but she had a Hulk dick. Listen, if you had to choose between pounding the Hulk or having a family,
pounding the Hulk.
Okay, let's be honest. Where was that art gonna go?
Possibly.
Everybody that Bruce Banner has ever loved or tried to be with has either left him or died.
Did Betty Ross die in Incredible Hulk?
No,
but she
essentially,
left.
Essentially, she's not there anymore. So,
well, I shouldn't say they left. He leaves.
Yeah.
And stays away from everybody to protect them.
Yeah.
And so, like, when everyone's like, oh, like, I completely ship like Bruce Banner and Black Widow, 100%. At least in the terms of these movies.
I agree. Although I don't see any way it was ever gonna end not tragically.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because
right?
Hulk is a tragic character. Hulk is Frankenstein's monster. Well, I don't know. Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah. And he's just a tragic character. And Black Widow will probably never do anything that in her mind would redeem herself.
Yeah.
But, like, this was her at least trying to do at least part of that. Mm-hmm. And it pays off, I think.
I think so, yeah. No, like, I had more of an emotional connection to that scene than I did Thanos throwing Gamora off the cliff.
Well, it's a good thing, too, because you really see the connection between Clint and Black Widow.
Yeah.
And, like, how that has developed over the 4 Avengers movies, because they don't have their own movies.
No.
So they mentioned Budapest again. On the way to Vormir, which is a throwback to the first Avengers.
Yeah.
So it really solidifies that connection they have. And when Red Skull says, "You have to get the stone, you must lose that which you love," which is nice. Everyone thought originally it's like, oh, you actually have to love that person as like a daughter or a father or a wife, or a loved one. But it's clearly not just that. It's any kind of love. It's friendship. It's companionship, stuff like that. which I thought was really nice tone.
Sometimes it's okay to be just friends with women. Why won't Brie Larson date me?
Brie Larson, date me!
My phone number is 780.
my
1,
Tinder
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
is... You can follow me on Pornhub at...
Brie Larson, why won't you date me? Anyway, send emails to whitegenocideisreal@gmail.com.
Cut!
No, keep it in. Keep it in, you cowards.
Please keep that in.
Fuck, dude, that's so bad. Oh my god. Wait, who's that?
I'm a nice guy!
Follow me on Pornhub at You Like Jazz.
Oh, fuck.
I work at Krusty Burger.
Okay, fucking...
Everything is a Simpsons. Captain America.
Captain America.
America's ass.
America's ass.
I'd like to shut out Penwell real quick.
Oh my god. Okay, okay, hold on.
You explain it, Chris.
Okay, so Chris Penwell, who was on last week and was supposed to be on this week and unfortunately couldn't make it. Let's play back the clip, shall we?
Chris, you were saying how that Captain America might be sent back in time and maybe potentially go with Agent Carter.
Yeah.
Which I think would be
It'd be a fitting end.
I think it'd be a very fantastic end fit.
What I would say is like Captain America would fix Hydra, the Hydra within S.H.I.E.L.D. So he'd try to oust them out of that organization.
Okay.
So that's probably what I'd see from it.
Another thing...
It wouldn't disrupt the current canon because that happened already. Before, so time travel's weird.
So, he predicted that Captain America was going to return to his old time and grow older, and we'll see him as Old Man Cap.
And dance with fucking Agent Carter.
And dance with Agent Carter.
Yeah.
And he was right, bitch!
On the fucking to a T. On
like,
point.
To a fucking T.
He even got who he passes the shield to. Correct.
Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson, which is obvious.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he got the... Yeah, he got that right. Like, 100% correct.
Oh my god, like, that
Falcon was going to take the shield.
Well, it's funny because when he was like, at that scene where he's like, okay, I'm going to go back by myself, I'm like, sitting there like, oh, Chris, you dirty fucker. You called it. I'm like, you called it, didn't you? And then it happened. I'm like, what a call.
God, that hurts.
It was a really good payoff.
It was a really good moment, yeah.
Well, it's especially because the last scene of the movie is you see him and Peggy dancing.
Yeah.
And it is the most heartwarming and a wholesome thing ever. Yeah. It's so good.
But what warmed my heart more is that Old Man Cap was played by Clint Eastwood. Incredibly well.
Fucking
Chris Evans ages beautifully into the racist guy from Gran Torino.
I was waiting for Sam to sit down with him. Hey, Cap, get off my lawn.
I don't think it really could have ended any other way. I mean, I guess you could have had Cap do a heroic sacrifice, but I think it kind of gets to the part where this is a problem in comic books where if you kill people, if your first thought, oh, we need a dramatic end to this person's arc, kill them. Well, it's you don't need to kill people to end their arc.
You do get that sense though earlier in the film. Yeah, when he's fighting Thanos, and Thanos is... I want to know whatever the hell Thanos' sword is made of, by the way, because he can cut through Cap's fucking shield.
Yeah.
He cuts it in half, and you think back to that scene in the I can't remember if it's the first or second Avengers movie, where Tony gets that vision of everyone dead.
Yeah.
And Cap's shield is cracked down the middle.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit! And it's that torn battlefield kind of scene, it's dark, it's light. It's like, oh, Cap could actually die here. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad it doesn't happen.
It was a really smart, sweet, and just pure way to pay off and end his arc.
Speaking of smart and sweet, let's talk about Thanos.
Sweet. Smart.
Fuck you.
Smart for sure. Sweet, not so much.
Fuck you.
Speaking of sweet daddy Thanos.
Sweet, sweaty, panting leather daddy Thanos.
Oh dear God. Finally, we have something to masturbate to tonight.
That will always be Thor.
Guys, I've been masturbating this entire time. I'm sorry. I'm going to tie this in a bit to what we were saying about Thanos earlier, where Thanos might have convinced himself that he's doing his mission for altruistic motives, but really he's just kind of a
psychopath.
A genocidal control freak.
Asshole.
Well, yeah, it's because... So a big part of this movie is that Thanos from the past comes to the future.
Yeah.
Through the quantum...
time travel bullshit.
Yeah, time travel stuff that they set up early in the film. And he brings his entire fleet. He brings Gamora from his time. He brings Nebula from his time, which is how they bring Gamora back, by the way.
Which was done a lot better than what I
Yeah, it was done a lot better.
Well, it makes it interesting, right? Because it's like, oh, she's not the same one that Quill knows. She's different. And at the end of the movie, they're looking for her.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Yeah. And I'm excited to see where
Guardians 3, The Search for Gamora.
But yeah, so he comes through to the future. Fucking... And,
Fuck you, Mike.
Yeah, he comes to the future because he's like, oh, all 6 Infinity Stones are in the future, so why not just go right there and get it, right?
Thanos sees what has happened.
Right, okay.
And he
shit!
kind of realizes the consequences of his actions.
Yeah.
None of the problems that were, in his mind, caused by overpopulation are actually resolved. Yeah. Because even, as counting the fact that those power structures are still in place... People will relentlessly try to bring back the past before...
Like you said earlier, the same systems that were in place before the problem are still there.
Yeah.
Right? And so he has a thing now where it turns from, I just want to save the world, save the universe, to everyone is wrong, everyone's going to just try and resist against this ideal, and so I have to kill everybody, and like everybody, and make a new world in my image. He basically wants to become God, capital G.
And that's the logical endpoint of his worldview. Because it's never going to be enough for him to just kill half. That's not how these things work.
Especially
half of the half.
Especially with towards the end when he says killing the Avengers will be the first time it feels really personal for him.
He'll
like
enjoy
it's clear he's going. It's clear that he gets off on this.
Yeah, and you could tell like in Infinity War that he enjoyed inflicting violence and harm on others. It's just he kind of coated it in this veneer of altruism. And in this one, like, he straight up admits, like, oh no, I'm going to enjoy this.
He gives a fucking foot-long knife to a fucking 6-year-old.
All while a fucking, like, Khmer Rouge-style culling of the unworthy is going on in the background.
Up top! Yay, genocide. Woo! White genocide is real at Gmail.
Okay. That's our P.O. box. Anyway, in my mind, that's the perfect middle finger to the Thanos is right idiots. Mm-hmm. Because this is what Thanos has always been. Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't want to tell you that.
You can coat this eugenicist murder in as much layers of, like, humanitarian doublespeak as you want, but it's still mass murder. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to end with just those people.
Yeah.
How it ends, though.
Is
one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about
Let's talk about Tony.
Let's talk about the pinnacle of the MCU, the key point across all 10 years, 22 films.
11 years, 22 films.
11 years, 22 films. Tony Stark. Tony died in the most fantastic way I think was possible.
Yeah.
He's fighting Thanos, trying to kill him, and right before that, he looks over at Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange gives him the one finger, like, this is the one in the 14,605 things I've gone through, and this is the one where we win. And he's like, oh shit, and so he goes and tries to fight Thanos, and in the middle of it, he eventually gets on top of the gauntlet, and then Thanos pushes him away, and Thanos is like about to snap his fingers again, right, about to, and then he looks over, and all the stones are gone, and Tony has them on his Iron Man hand, and it's just like, oh fuck. Okay, and the last thing he says before he snaps his fingers is, I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
Which is a throwback to the first Iron Man movie, which is such a fan payoff and so nice.
It's a great bookend.
It's a fantastic end. And he snaps his fingers, and all of Thanos' forces and Thanos himself are swept away in the dust.
Yeah.
A little bit of ironic karma there.
And then Tony dies.
I like Thanos' death. Because, like, he's just kind of... Nobody says anything. Nobody quips at him.
No.
He doesn't say anything. He just kind of sits down and, like, accepts that this was the consequence of, like, everything. It's almost just, like, shock disbelief. It looked like he was going to break down crying.
It did, yeah. Yeah, so Tony is the only human to do so. Mm-hmm. Thanos did it and almost killed him.
Yeah.
When he destroyed it anyway. Hulk did it and he got really hurt. And so Tony obviously is going to die from doing this.
Yeah.
And he does it, and... it is the saddest thing.
Yeah.
It is awesome because he wins the battle, but then you get this shot of, like, he's dying on the battlefield. He's just laying down, waiting, and Pepper shows up, and she says, we're going to be okay. And she starts crying and stuff. And I'm like, that really struck me.
Yeah.
Because, one, it talks about her and his daughter, who he now has.
Morgan Stark is fucking adorable.
Morgan Stark is the cutest kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's referencing her and his daughter, He's representing the Avengers as a team as a whole. He's representing the world. Like, if the world will keep spinning without you, you'll be okay. You can rest.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is... Like, even now, I'm still like, just, fuck.
Yeah.
It's so emotional and moving.
In a sense, this is the story of not only the death of Tony Stark, but the death of Tony Stark's ego, which has caused, like... Which is a made thread line in, like, the greater cinematic universe movies has been Tony Stark insisting that he should be the one to protect everybody. Because, like we touched on earlier in the previous episode, Pokey Stark?
Pokey Stark. Yeah, fucking Pokemon.
Pokey Stark, I choose you! Ego!
The Ayn Rand Pokemon. But, because he's an egomaniac, he insists that he needs to be the one to protect the world.
Well, I wouldn't say it's just that. I'd say it's also because if you think like the first Iron Man film, when he's trapped in the cave with what's his face, but Tony gets a real image of like, this is how my weapons are hurting people. I have killed hundreds of people with the weapons I made, not personally, like I haven't shot the gun, but I've given these weapons out. And they've done a lot of destruction. So I feel he feels like he has to pay recompense for that and repair what he's broken.
Yeah,
but that way.
But he goes about it in like not great ways.
No, not the great
even
ways.
Within the same movie, like as soon as he gets the finished Iron Man suit, he just goes to Afghanistan and starts murdering militants. And
who are hurting innocent people.
Well, yeah, but there's a very weird subtext about just a very rich American deciding to get, well, I'm just gonna fucking...
Oh, no, the subtext is clear as fuck.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
But it's specifically in the Avengers and in Civil War, there's a running thread of Tony Stark wanting to kind of mold the world into his own conception of security. Mm-hmm. That's why he creates Ultron, and that goes about as wrong as you would imagine creating an AI
which is referenced actually in Endgame as well, the suit of armor around the world.
Yep. Civil War, he tries really hard to enforce the Sokovia Accords, and that backfires horribly. And then in Infinity War, of course, nothing goes right in that movie. And that kind of comes to a head at the beginning of this movie when he's just freaked out and he starts lashing out at people. But after that, he gets mostly what he wants. Like, as in, he ends up with Pepper and they have a daughter.
Yeah. Well, I feel like one of the reasons he freaks out so much is that Peter Parker is basically like a son to him.
Yeah.
Well, he is the father figure for Peter Parker. He has a very emotional connection to him. So when he loses that, when Peter dies in Infinity War, it just tears him to his core.
Yeah.
And he can't take it anymore because he was the one person who he didn't want to lose besides Pepper and his like really close people, right?
Yeah.
And he lost him, and that just wrecks his day.
Yeah. Did you guys notice, like, when, like, Tony's looking at a picture of him and Peter, like, Peter's, like, giving a dumb smile, and, like, but he's holding, like, a plaque, but he's holding it upside down?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so Peter.
That's so funny.
I love Tom Holland.
That is, I mean, he is a really good actor for Spider-Man. He's perfect for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tony is the center of the entire MCU.
And that last scene, like you touched on, is, like, it's the death of Tony Stark, but the death of Tony Stark's ego as well. The ego that has caused so much problems for him and the people around him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he lets it go. He lets go the fact that he got everything he wanted, but he's going to let it go anyway.
Yeah, and then you get this, in the last 20 minutes of the movie, you get this beautiful funeral scene. Tony's first arc reactor he put in his chest, where Pepper frames it and says, proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Yeah.
That is actually used in Endgame. Mm-hmm. It put on one of those floating things on the river and sent on the river, and it's a gorgeous shot, and it really pissed off the fans.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, oh god, that's such a throwback. It really gives the image of like Tony Stark has been such a part of everyone's lives. Like, not even just in the MCU, but of just in real life.
Yeah.
He's been such an influence. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Like, no one else can play that guy.
Yeah.
No.
Until Disney
recasts. Sorry, you were going to say something, Chris?
Yeah, and I was going to say it also pans over to everyone just kind of watching it float away, and you get, like, shots of everybody that's interacted with him.
Everybody.
Including the little kid from Iron Man 3.
Yes. Yeah. I actually got asked that the other day. I was like, who the hell is that kid? It's like, it's the kid from Iron Man 3. And everyone's like, oh!
Because I sat there and I was like, yeah, we left the theater and I went, you guys realize that was the kid from Iron Man 3, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, and I'm like, wait, that kid from Iron Man 3? I'm like, yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't think a lot of people... Well, he doesn't look...
Well, because he's older now,
He looks...
right?
Yeah, he's like, what, 4 years older?
He's got to be about 6 years older than he was in...
Yeah, Iron Man 3. He's older. He's a lot older. But it's him. And so you get like the shots of Cap and the S.H.I.E.L.D. team, and then you get Black Panther and that team. You get the kid from Iron Man 3. You get Guardians. You get...
His family.
You get Captain Marvel, and then right behind him, Nick Fury literally comes out of the shadows. Very Nick Fury-esque, and he doesn't say a single word the entire movie, but he doesn't need to.
No.
And it's absolutely fantastic. And then it just got me, dude.
Yeah.
It made me. I was tearing up in the movie theater.
We didn't even talk about Tony meeting his dad.
Oh my god! I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Tony meets Howard Stark.
That's another like running thread with him was like Tony has. I mean, we'll simplify them and call them daddy issues, but
he has a lot of issues. But...
Yeah, well, because his family is so incredibly fucked up, and it was nice to see that resolved.
The thing I liked about it too is that it gave Howard a lot of humanity more than because originally he was like, oh, he's just been a bad father. He's a business tycoon. He's work, and then this is like he's scared to be a dad. He doesn't know how he's gonna do. He's asking for advice. He's talking like a regular human. Like it's just like it really connects you with him.
It felt genuine.
Exactly.
It felt grounded. But since we're running out of time...
Are we? Oh, shit,
wait. Can I just quickly reference the scene where Hulk has to pretend to be Mean Hulk? The best
Fuck it.
Anyway,
okay, so since we're running out of time, and, I kind of want to get through this, and then we'll just end the episode pretty much right on this. Okay, so now that this chapter of the MCU is over, where do you guys see the MCU going from here?
I would like to see, actually, because I know Disney Plus is going to have their Loki kind of TV show. I'd like to see Black Widow Hawkeye TV show.
I would have liked to see that a while ago. I think all the development we needed for Black Widow was done in these movies.
Yeah,
no, and I see that. Like, or perhaps maybe it's her and his exploitation in the 5 years of everyone being dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be interesting to me.
That would be okay, but again, I don't see any reason for it to happen.
In terms of movies,
I think if you
in terms of a movie, because they've already said they want to do a Black Widow movie unless they
cancel it. Yeah,
unless they end up canceling it now. If they do, it's probably going to be a prequel.
Yeah,
100%. Just like Captain Marvel was.
Yeah, and if they bring her back for whatever reason, then fuck Disney.
Yeah, fuck that for sure.
But I think it's gonna be a prequel. And honestly, I think the only two Marvel movies I'm really looking forward to now are the ones that are practically official. Far From Home in 2 months, and Guardians 3.
Yeah, in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
In like 2 or 3 years, Probably, longer than a year and a half.
2 years at least.
It's going to be 2 or 3 years, because James Gunn's still working on that Suicide Squad sequel.
Yeah, which I'm actually kind of intrigued by.
I'm actually kind of excited.
I'm intrigued because the first movie was so bad.
Yeah, Guardians 3 is not coming out till 2022.
I'm kind of in the same boat where, like, I think I'm kind of done with the MCU as, like, one unified universe. Like, now that the Avengers arc is over, I don't really see where they go from here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they'd probably do the New Avengers, which is the actual title. That's what they're called in the comics.
Right. But the New Avengers. And, by the way, read Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers run. I don't know, it's just after Endgame, it's like, that seems like way less interesting to me now. Because I feel like everybody's stories are pretty much done.
Well, yeah, it's because it's been done now, right?
Yeah.
They've had the huge reveal. They had the big cinema feat that they've accomplished.
Yeah.
Right? They did it. And it's amazing. And
like,
it's really hard to top that. They might, and if they do, I'm really excited for it. But it's going to be really hard, especially with how excited we've all been for Endgame for so long.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's going to be a while.
I think it's mostly a combination of just me being kind of tired of this and also like just kind of cynical about this kind of industry movie in general.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to see anything they put out.
Me too.
Honest.
Yeah.
But the only ones that I'm really, really rushing out to see are Guardians 3, like Chris mentioned, and Far From Home because Spider-Man is my favorite fictional character.
Me too.
Yeah, like those are the only ones I'm like gonna go out to the theater and go see. Everything else I can wait. I'm not that excited for anything else.
Like, I guess Black Panther 2 will come out at one point too.
And these movies will probably be fine.
They'll be fine. Like, I don't think any of us are dreading them.
No.
I think, honestly, just having an investment with these characters over 11 years, along with having DC try out their own cinematic universe and all these other superhero properties coming out, I think we're experiencing superhero fatigue. And I think as soon as Far From Home comes out,
there'll be a break.
Marvel should be smart and just take a year off.
Especially because Spider-Verse really showed just how innovative these movies can be when they're not adhering to a Marvel formula necessarily. Or even it's not a live action movie, and I think more superhero stuff should be animated, honestly, because there's so much more possibility.
And in that comic book kind of style too, that was the best looking, one of the best looking movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
and the thing is, even if the new movies aren't as good as these current ones, these ones we have in the last 10 years are going to age so well.
I think, I'm
going to show my kids these movies.
Yeah, like I said to you guys when we left the theater. I think the concept of the MCU is going to age really, really well, because that's the thing. I think overall, the MCU at this point has been very hit and miss. There's been really solid movies come out of it. There's been some that aren't very good at all, and then the rest of them have just been fine. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of have a meh feeling on the overall execution. Mm-hmm. But I think the concept of it, I think Kevin Feige's ambitions, and I think ultimately the ultimate payoff here in Endgame, I think these are going to age really well.
I mean, they've already made the smart choice of hiring James Gunn back for Guardian 3.
Yeah.
Firing him in the first place was stupid.
Yeah,
because of one thing he said 7 years ago or something like that.
But the guy who brought it up, so what he said was it was just an edgy joke that it wasn't funny, but it was just an edgy joke. And then the guy who brought it up was like, "Oh yeah, James Gunn endorses child rape." And the fun fact is, the guy who brought this up, Mike Cernovich, is actually accused of rape. He's a horrible human being.
Yeah. So why did everyone take it seriously?
They shouldn't have. And then Disney gave into it because Disney is ultimately an amoral corporation that just wants to save face when they think they need to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whatever makes the people happy, right?
It's not that they're stupid, it's just they're amoral.
Well, yeah, but I think that also leads into stupidity. But we don't have to talk about it.
We don't need to talk about it.
But so that was...
that's it.
That was Endgame and Infinity War. So.
We did our recommendations already. There's no point in doing them again.
Yeah. Definitely recommend go seeing this movie. We're going to be taking a break for a week, so there won't be an episode next week.
After that, we'll be doing an episode. What is it going to be on, guys?
I don't think we've decided yet. You'll find out in 2 weeks.
You'll find out, within a week or two.
We'll do a reveal.
Whoa! Da-da-da-da!
Holy shit, guys, we're doing Crank!
We just got copyright struck by Nintendo.
Yes, we did. That was our review of the last episodes, all the Avengers movies. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please check out our Patreon and our Twitter.
We don't have a Patreon properly set up yet.
We'll set up a Patreon.
Check out our stuff on YouTube and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Follow us. Share it with your friends. Share it with your non-friends.
Share it with your friends, family, and clergy.
Share it with Brie Larson.
Go to the
Share it with Brie Larson.
Go to the homeless person at the end of the street and share it with him and tell him to go bring it to Brie Larson.
Lock a homeless person in a room. Show him this podcast. Ask him what he thought. When he tearfully asks you to please let him leave, show it to him again. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Until Brie Larson gets back to me.
If someone actually does this, we're so fucked.
We're so fucked.
Cut.
Nope.
Alright, guys. Thanks, everyone, so much for listening. We're taking a break for about 2 weeks.
No, about a week.
The next episode will come out in 2 weeks. We're taking a week break. That was the Avengers series. Thanks to everyone for listening.
Now please let me rest.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.